Hello, my name is Maria Garcia, and we're going to review the level design for Starfall Crater. Starfall Crater is a proposal for a randomly generated structure in the desert, similar to the desert temple or a jungle temple. It's meant for players who like to explore and get that high risk, high reward experience. So we're going to review 10 different points that I'm going to touch on during the playthrough really quickly. First is the challenge curve. The level starts out really easy and progressively becomes more difficult. It has at least 3 tiers of levels. In the beginning, very shallow and with easy mobs, and as you go down a level, things get a little bit darker, a little bit higher ceiling, and more difficult mobs. In the first layer, you got cave spiders and skeletons. Now you're getting evokers and husks. Then you go down another layer, and things start getting tight. Things start getting really dark. You're going to have to pull out your torches and get ready because you see the diamond that you want to get, but unfortunately, the place is littered with more evokers, more husks, and more pillagers at this point. Then you might find yourself falling through to the next layer down, where it's even tighter, even darker, and there's even more diamonds around, but so are witches and a breeze or 4, until you find out there's a chute all the way to the bottom with a big treasure chest full of rewards. So that's the challenge curve. The encounters are both planned and randomized. I have some spawners bringing out some of the monsters that I mentioned earlier, and some of the monsters were specifically placed in areas in case the lighting wasn't making the spawners go off as quickly. And the spawners also work by through time. So you have to be within a certain area for a certain amount of time before the spawners come on. So if you just fall straight into a spot through one of the chutes, we might need the monsters spawners to have a little bit more time to boot up. So some monsters were placed specifically. It's a mix of encounters. We have a non-linear play experience. You can dig around the whole meteor crash. You can go through the middle of the meteor crash. You can fall through a meteor crash funnel. You can decide to bring a pack of wolves as backup, or you can go in as a guild with your friends, or you can go in by yourself. There are frequent choke points that create a moment of tension. You'll see throughout the levels, at some point, these alien biomes just sprouted up and made things really full of life and weirdness and intensity. So you have to have strategic thinking. Some players will just put up a wall all around them of like sand blocks as a sort of buffer between the experience they just fell into and what they want to do next. Pathing. So this level design intentionally disorients players. There's spots where you may have run out of torches, or you might figure that you went into an area you thought was safe, but then there was a hole in the ground that dropped you 40 blocks deep. To give you an idea, a room is usually 2 to 4 blocks high, and I think that's hilarious. Then we have player agency. During one of my play tests, my player just went 40 blocks away from the meteor site. So that can happen too. It's an open world, and players can approach the challenge however they want. They could find a bunch of TNT and blow the whole spot up instead of going through and doing PvP stuff, player versus mob stuff. Then there's the verticality. While we do have like clear different levels, the levels themselves aren't too in and out themselves. We have some tunnels going around, but each different level is pretty even. And we have immersion. I think just going into a deeper and deeper, and the blocks going from your normal sand and dirt and gravel to this weird red stuff that looks like mushrooms and growing plants you've never seen before, it's pretty immersive. And then the monsters are making their sounds too. Then we have combat spaces. It's gonna get tight. You'll find out. risk and reward. In the beginning, you can start to see that diamond that everybody wants here and there from the ground. But as you go deeper and you explore, you find big veins of diamond ore, and that's the stuff that everybody wants. So you'll see that the theme gets tighter and tighter, and the mood is pretty mysterious with urgency. Let's get into it. Alright, so here you can see there's a meteor crash with these veins running, pointing at this hole in the ground, and there are those tunnels that can drop you straight into the very bottom. But let's go all the way to the top. In survival mode, you can't fly around, but that's just to show you what happens in the game. And one of my players decided to dig around those holes so he could go straight to the bottom without having to go through all the fights, but in a controlled way where he felt like he wasn't going to get ganged up on by the monsters or get into something he wasn't ready for. So here you start to see there's some mobs down there, there's a diamond, and you come down and you start to fight whatever's here. I do have some husk spawners around, some skeleton spawners around. It does take time for that to boot up, and you'll see them pop up here, hopefully on our way up. And the next level down, you start to see these pillagers and cave spiders and another diamond. You're going to have to find a way to get that without getting got. You can see my spawners are running, and you can go over there as a player and destroy those spawners. But you have to get through all these pillagers first. And there are some back tunnels. And then the next level down, even more diamonds. And a hint at what might be below. The floor starts getting weird and different. Atmospheric. Diamonds. Monsters. Growth. Holes in the ground. Oh no. So here you see things get tighter, things get darker, things get harder. And I do have witches on this level, as well as evokers, which are stronger pillagers and husks. Some mobs from higher levels have come and fallen down here, which is alright. As long as things get more difficult on the way down, that's fine. And this is the moss that makes things brighter, as recommended. But as long as we're still placing monsters independently, then we're going to be okay. So this can get to be pretty intense at this point when you're playing in survival mode. And then the very last level, you can start to see you're going to have to find a way to get those diamonds in the ground. And what's going on down there is a place full of breezes and husks that start to attack some diamond. And finally, there is a treasure chest in here with really great loot. And that's the level. And you have to get yourself out of here. These vines do take you up, but usually people just start making staircases into the earth. That's usually the go-to, but you can try this for dramatic effect. And like I said, there are holes that drop you all the way from the ground level to that bottom. So you could be up here minding your own business and be like, oh, what's this? Boom. You're in the thick of it. And you can hear all those monsters talking about how they're going to get you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.